Could you explain, Gaurav, what exactly is BaaS? Because a lot of people have been talking to me and I have been giving only one answer. Yeah, listen, it is a simple financing program. If we are unnecessarily complicating, confusing ourselves, it is not that complex.
Yeah.
It's a very simple program. So I would want to hear from you on two areas. One is the BaaS, and second is that if you could elaborate on the free charging and our app and how we are going to manage that whole thing.
Okay. Thanks. So I'll just talk about BaaS because I think, like you mentioned, it's a very exciting era in terms of the solution for our consumers in India to adopt to the vehicle. I'll take a step back to explain how it all started actually. So our teams have been working for it for quite some time, with various financiers also and internally also. Why did we do this? As he mentioned, one of the category barriers has been that EVs were considered to be expensive because the battery is a sizable portion of the entire package cost. Now, as you all know, many of you use mobiles, the battery's life actually far exceeds the life of the car. Typically, if you look at a 2,500 ampere cycle charging and like a 331 kilometer range, the battery can go on for 5-6 lakh kilometers. But normal consumers would drive maybe like 50 kilometers a day, so maybe at best 1 lakh kilometers in 5 years. But the juice in the battery can go on. So our whole approach was that how do we look at making sure that the mindset is that the battery in the electric vehicle is it is equal to the way you fill up your petrol or diesel in your ICE car, which means that battery is like fuel, it's energy. So, but if you are saddled with the cost up front, it kind of becomes a burden. So if you can make the customer pay for it just the way they would pay for normal car when they drive, let's say, an ICE vehicle, that will be actually the right approach because that is what real it is. This is the background of BaaS. Now, how did we go to explain this?
Gaurav, can I interrupt you?
Sure.
So you mentioned that you pay per kilometer and you pay the rental. Any thoughts on what is the per kilometer running cost of an ICE vehicle of the similar category?
So, it's a very good question. See, ICE vehicle running cost, leave aside, is almost equal to 8 to 9 rupees for a small car and above almost 10 rupees for a big size car. Whereas for an EV, it is 3.5 what we are charging as battery rental, and we'll talk about the options. But otherwise, maintenance cost or running cost of an EV is less than a rupee.
Yes.
So it's actually a multiple of 7 to 8 times for ICE vehicles.
So even if you compare with fuels, say for example you explain 1500 kilometers per month. If you drive an ICE vehicle, which is a petrol, is now about 100 odd rupees.
So to do the maths, it will be very simple actually.
Yeah.
That if you are doing 50 kilometers a day, so 1,500 kilometers is monthly running. Like you said, maybe you take a normal small SUV of about 12 kilometers to a liter ballpark, you will spend about 120 liters of petrol or diesel in your car. You take 100 rupees approximate cost, almost 12,000 rupees is just your fuel cost.
Yeah.
Leave aside maintenance because these engines have got more moving parts. For our MG Windsor, if you take the package of rupees 3.5 per kilometer, and let us say we even add that 1 rupee of charging cost because, while you're charging at home most of the times and public charging we are giving free, so 4.5 rupees per kilometer into 1,500. So ballpark is about 6,500 rupees.
6.5. Yeah.
So you are actually spending half that you would spend in an ICE vehicle of the same type. So 10 lakh rupees ICE vehicle, you will be spending, let's say, 12,000 per month. In addition to the EMI of the 10 lakh vehicle, here you will spend 10 lakhs on the EMI and then you will only spend half for the fuel. Keep in mind, and I know you are smiling, that at 10 lakhs, maybe Satinder, you can talk, what kind of vehicle will you get when you compare that to a MG Windsor?
No, I actually wanted to, I was coming from a point where I wanted to ask you, when you talked about the cost of fuel and cost of this. So it gives me a sense, Gaurav, that if you finance a car, normal case, and you finance this battery and the shell, as we are saying on the rental model, if I even put the EMI of the vehicle and the battery rental per month, this cost will be lower than the
Will be
cost.
lower.
Yeah?
Yes, yes. So actually, that's a very important point. If you were to take the full car package on financing, or you take battery as a service, the combined sum of battery rental plus the shell rental, if we can say, car minus the battery, will be lower than the full EMI. That is a very important factor. And when we will reveal this very shortly, you will see that actually on a monthly basis, your cash flow is at an advantage with battery as a service. But coming to the point what I was asking you, that if you look at 10 lakhs worth, you will get an ICE vehicle typically, and that too may be a manual transmission.
Manual.
Whereas when you look at a Windsor, you are getting a very, like he talked about the ABC, right? A segment pricing, B segment size, and C segment space and comfort, automatic transmission, skateboard platform, world-class car. So that is inherent the advantage number one. Number two, in the case of battery as a service, we will have different packages. So for example, he may like to choose an option where we have said there's a minimum package, like 50 kilometers a day, because he would do the maths that his family will drive the car approximately 1,500 per month. So basis that, we have a package called rupees 3.5 per kilometer. That is a standard minimum guarantee package. Whereas I may say, I will not be here in summer holidays. I will be going outside of my town, so I will not drive this car. So I don't want to have a minimum guarantee. So in that case, Satinder, there's a different rate that is applicable, but the choice is basis the consumer's requirements, if they don't want a minimum guarantee. The third is also there, that if you say I will drive more than my minimum guarantee, what happens in that case? The fourth option is also available, that you say I will pay the 10 lakhs completely. I will not take the loan on 10 lakhs. I will only take the loan on the battery. So that option is also available. You can take the full car without BaaS also.
Yeah,
that's very important.
Yeah, because Gaurav, since we've been talking only about battery as a service for last, since 11th, so many people have this misconception that we are going to push only battery as a service. So I have been telling people that's not the objective.
Correct.
Objective is that we want to give you an option of easy ownership of the car. If you wish to take the car on the ex-showroom price, most welcome. Nobody's going to push BaaS. Nobody's going to. It's for your convenience. So customers are free to take whatever way they want to take the ownership
the
of
package
the
they want. One more thing is important for all of you to know is that now what happens in case of a default? Because you may say that I am not taken the car on loan. I'm only renting the battery if you take the BaaS package. So what happens in that case? In that situation, basis the four financiers that we have, Bajaj Finance, Hero FinCorp, Vidyutech, as well as Autovert and Ecofy, they have got their normal protocol like any financier in case of a default or a delay in payments, what protocol they follow for reminders, etc. Should there be a case where the car has to be, taken back by the financier, the owner would say, listen, you only have paid for I'm only renting the battery from you. The shell in this case belongs to me. Rightfully so, because they have not rented the shell. They've only rented the battery. But we know that the car and the battery go as one entity. Without the battery, the car is of no relevance, frankly. And without the car shell, the battery is a piece of after-sales availability, like an energy package. So in this case, if the car is taken back by the financier, like in normal case, the car would have a resale value based on the full price of the car. Basis that resale value, the consumer would be asked to offset the outstanding amount on the battery, and the balance remainder, which would be relevant to the 10 lakhs that he or she has paid, would be given back to the customer. So the financiers have got very clear tables, like in a normal loan, how to have the repayment schedule, what would happen in terms of principal outstanding, all the situation is there. I'll also add here, Satinder, that suppose your question would be, I may want to sell this car to someone. Can I sell this car? The answer is yes. In that case, the buyer of the car has the choice. He or she can continue the same package of BaaS, or he or she can say, you know what, I'll clear the entire outstanding on the battery and take the entire package upfront. So there are various clear policies that are there for the entire setup, whether there is a delay payment, default in payment, transfer, and you can even extend the whole program also. So here you will have the details that there are choices available, 3 years package, 4 years, 5 years, etc. So basis, Satinder, ultimately the customer's preference and whether he or she wants to have a minimum guarantee, how much loan, all of that is possible. Aim is, like you mentioned, that we want to provide maximum flexibility, and we don't want the battery price or the concept of, you know, high acquisition price being a barrier to EV adoption.
Yeah. So I think if I have to say, Gaurav, this entire BaaS program is completely customizable
Yes.
as per the customer requirement, right?
Exactly.
That's a correct statement that I'm making.
And while today we have 4 financiers, because frankly these requires a lot of, you know, back-end work. So you'll notice that some of the larger financiers of the country are not there yet. But with these 4 financiers, so Satinder, this is also important for people to know, it's available across all our MG facilities in the country. So while they are new names, but these are the disruptive finance companies, and we are very sure that the larger players also are already talking to us now, because they also will be working to offer battery as a service to the customers. And like you mentioned, if more OEMs, more players come and do this, this can really help in adoption of EVs fast. So just think that if you have like mutual funds as a movement, mutual fund sahi hai, this can actually unleash an era of, you know, people coming into EVs and time to get more into EVs with everyone coming together.